It was a Friday. The sun shone brightly over Washington, D.C. At 2:15 p.m., a piercing shriek tore through the sky, a deafening boom, a plume of black smoke billowed, staining the clear blue sky. A passenger plane en route from Reagan National Airport to Atlanta had crashed. It plunged into the Potomac River just a few miles from the Pentagon. The city watched in horror. Washington, D.C., a city accustomed to power and politics, was brought to its knees. Flags flew at half-mast, a somber symbol of respect for the lives lost. News channels broadcast the unfolding events non-stop. Families of the passengers and crew faced an agonizing wait. As darkness fell, the city lights seemed to dim as if in mourning, a city united in grief. At Reagan National Airport, life bustled. Passengers, suitcases in tow, rushed through terminals. Flight 524, destined for Atlanta, was no different. On board, 58 souls prepared for a routine flight. The captain, a seasoned pilot with years of experience, ran through pre-flight checks. At 2:05 p.m., with a gentle roar of the engines, Flight 524 lifted off the runway. It soared into the azure sky, leaving behind the hustle and bustle of the airport. Below, the city of Washington, D.C. spread out like a map. For the first 10 minutes, the flight proceeded smoothly. The plane, a silver bird against the canvas of the sky, climbed steadily. Then, the first sign of trouble. A faint tremor ran through the aircraft. Passengers exchanged nervous glances. In the cockpit, the pilots' faces tightened with concern. Dark, ominous clouds gathered on the horizon. The plane, caught in the grip of a sudden violent storm, began to shudder violently. The storm intensified with terrifying speed. The plane, buffeted by fierce winds, tossed and turned like a toy boat in a raging sea. Inside the cabin, chaos reigned. Passengers screamed, their voices rising in terror. In the cockpit, the pilots fought desperately for control. "Mayday, mayday, mayday," the captain's voice crackled over the airwaves, but his plea for help was met with silence. Suddenly, a deafening bang echoed through the plane. The plane lurched violently, dropping hundreds of feet in a matter of seconds. Passengers, thrown from their seats, screamed in terror. In the cockpit, the pilots fought with all their might to regain control of the aircraft. The plane, mortally wounded, spiraled downwards, its descent unstoppable. Through the windows, the ground rushed closer, a blur of green and brown. Then, with a deafening roar and a heart-stopping impact, Flight 524 slammed into the icy waters of the Potomac. The impact reverberated through the city, a jolting tremor that sent chills down the spines of those who felt it. News traveled faster than the wind, carried on whispers of disbelief. Sirens wailed, a symphony of urgency piercing through the stunned silence. Emergency responders, their faces grim, raced towards the disaster. Coast Guard boats cut through the choppy waters. Helicopters descended towards the crash site, their spotlights piercing through the gloom. The icy grip of the Potomac held Flight 524 captive. Divers plunged into the murky depths, their movements swift and precise. Each plunge was a leap of faith, a desperate search for survivors. On the surface, Coast Guard boats circled the crash site, their crews hauling in debris. As the sun began its slow descent, the tireless efforts of the rescuers continued unabated. Amidst the heartbreaking task of retrieving the deceased, a flicker of hope ignited. A young woman, her body battered but her spirit unbroken, was pulled from the wreckage. Her survival, a testament to the relentless efforts of the rescuers, breathed new life into the weary hearts of those who had gathered at the crash site. News of her survival spread like wildfire. Families, huddled together, dared to hope. The search continued for others who might have survived. As darkness descended, the mood shifted. The initial shock had given way to a numbing grief. The stories began to emerge, whispered tales of those on board Flight 524. Each whisper, each story added another layer of sorrow. As the city mourned, a makeshift memorial began to take shape near the crash site. The city, united in grief, sought solace in shared sorrow. The silence at the airport was deafening. Families of the passengers huddled together, their faces etched with anxiety and fear. Red Cross volunteers moved among the families, offering comfort. The occasional ring of a cell phone shattered the silence. Hopeful eyes darted towards the sound, only to dim again as the call went unanswered. The weight of silence pressed down upon them, a suffocating reminder of the loved ones they might never see again. John stared numbly at the television screen, his eyes bloodshot. His daughter Emily had been on that plane. He clutched a photograph of her tightly in his hand. He remembered tucking her into bed the night before. He had waved goodbye to her at the airport, his heart swelling with pride. The thought, a searing blade of pain, tore through him, leaving him gasping for breath. Sarah paced the length of the waiting room, her phone clutched tightly in her hand, her every thought consumed by her older brother Mark. He had been on his way to a conference, his briefcase filled with notes and presentations, his mind already on the week ahead. She remembered him teasing her about her latest crush, his eyes twinkling with affection, his laughter filling the room. She had spoken to him briefly before he boarded the plane, his voice cheerful, his words reassuring. "Don't worry, sis," he had said. "I'll be back before you know it. We'll grab pizza and catch up on all the gossip." Now, those words echoed in her ears, a painful reminder of the normalcy that had been ripped away from them. She scrolled through old text messages, their conversations a tapestry of mundane details and shared jokes, each word now imbued with a profound sense of loss. She would give anything to hear his voice again, to feel his reassuring presence beside her. The thought of him trapped in the wreckage, his life extinguished in a terrifying instant, was unbearable. She clung to the hope, however faint, that he might have survived, that somehow, against all odds, he would emerge from this nightmare. The alternative, the crushing realization that he was gone, was a truth she wouldn't allow herself to face. The small community of Oakwood was in shock. The news of the crash spread like wildfire, leaving behind disbelief and sorrow. Among the passengers were friends, their laughter a familiar sight in town. Mrs. Peterson, the librarian, known for her kind eyes and gentle smile. She was visiting her daughter and newborn grandson. Mr. O'Brien, the hardware store owner, a pillar of the community, always willing to lend a hand. Miss Davis, the high school art teacher, inspired her students with her passion for creativity. As Washington, D.C. grappled with the tragedy, a profound sense of unity emerged from the depths of sorrow. Strangers offered comfort, their shared grief transcending boundaries of age, race, and background. The city, often divided by politics, found solace in collective humanity. Candlelight vigils, their flames a testament to lives lost, illuminated the night. People gathered, sharing stories, offering prayers, and finding strength in shared loss. The city, draped in mourning, paused to pay tribute to the victims and their families. The waters of the Potomac flowed on, a silent witness to the tragedy that had unfolded on their surface. The wreckage of Flight 524, once a symbol of hope, and the promise of journeys yet to be taken, was now gone, carefully removed, piece by piece, leaving behind only ripples of sorrow and the haunting memory of lives lost. Yet the impact of the crash resonated far beyond the immediate vicinity of the disaster. The city of Washington, D.C. still bore the scars of that fateful day, the collective grief etched on the faces of its inhabitants, a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the capricious nature of fate. The families of the victims, their lives forever altered by the tragedy, faced an uncertain future, their hearts heavy with the weight of their loss. The echoes of laughter, the warmth of embraces, the shared dreams and aspirations, all now precious memories, both a source of comfort and a painful reminder of what could never be again. The investigation into the cause of the crash continued, a meticulous search for answers that might bring some measure of closure and prevent such a tragedy from happening again. But for now, the why and the how seemed less important than the simple, heartbreaking truth that 58 souls, each with their own story to tell, their own dreams to pursue, were gone, their lives tragically cut short. As the initial shock subsided and the city slowly began to heal, the inevitable questions lingered in the air, heavy with the weight of unanswered prayers and the bitter taste of what-ifs. The investigation, a complex tapestry of forensic analysis, witness testimonies, and meticulous examination of the recovered wreckage, continued, its findings awaited with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Experts pored over the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, their every word, every sound, scrutinized for clues that might shed light on the final moments of Flight 524. Weather patterns, maintenance records, pilot logs, every detail, no matter how seemingly insignificant, became a piece of the puzzle, a potential key to understanding what went wrong. Theories abounded, whispered speculations fueled by grief and the human need to make sense of the senseless. Mechanical failure, pilot error, extreme weather conditions, each possibility examined, dissected, and weighed against the available evidence. But for now, the answers remained elusive, hidden within the labyrinth of data and the haunting silence of the crash site. The search for truth, for a definitive explanation that could bring some measure of closure, was a long and arduous journey. And while the answers might never fully satisfy the longing for understanding, the pursuit of them, the unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth, was a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity, our refusal to let tragedy have the last word. In the wake of such a tragedy, it is natural to question the safety of the skies, to feel a tremor of fear at the thought of entrusting our lives to the marvels of engineering that soar above us. The crash of Flight 524 served as a stark reminder of the inherent risks associated with air travel, the delicate balance between human ingenuity and the unforgiving forces of nature. Yet, amidst the grief and the questioning, it is also important to acknowledge the remarkable safety record of the aviation industry. The countless flights that take off and land safely every day, the millions of miles traveled without incident, are a testament to the rigorous safety protocols, the constant innovation, and the unwavering dedication of the countless individuals who work tirelessly to ensure our safety in the skies. The crash of Flight 524, while a tragedy of immense proportions, should not overshadow the countless success stories, the lives saved, and the journeys made possible by the miracle of flight. It should, however, serve as a catalyst for reflection, a reminder of the importance of ongoing vigilance, relentless innovation, and an unwavering commitment to safety. The lessons learned from this tragedy, the improvements made, the protocols strengthened, will serve as a lasting legacy to those who perished on that fateful day, a testament to their memory and a promise that their sacrifice will not be in vain. As the sun rose over Washington, D.C., casting its golden light upon the city, there was a palpable sense of resilience in the air. The tragedy of Flight 524 had cast a long shadow, but it had not extinguished the indomitable spirit of the human heart. Life, in all its complexities and contradictions, went on. The city, still mourning, slowly began to heal, its streets coming alive once more with the rhythm of daily life. The laughter of children playing in parks, the conversations shared over cups of coffee, the simple acts of kindness exchanged between strangers, all testaments to the enduring power of the human spirit to find hope, even in the darkest of times. The families of the victims, their journeys of grief and healing just beginning, found solace in the outpouring of love and support from their communities. The memories of their loved ones, their smiles, their laughter, their dreams, lived on, a beacon of light guiding them through the darkness. The crash of Flight 524, while a tragedy, also served as a powerful reminder of the preciousness of life, the importance of cherishing each moment, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It reminded us that even in the face of unimaginable loss, hope can emerge from the ashes, and the human heart, though broken, has an infinite capacity to heal and to love again.